Right guys, got another little video for you today. I thought I'd show you the weapon and equipment I have set up and I'm trying to still set up for my 2nd Armoured Division impression. This is set up for an NCO, so that's got a couple of little bits that you don't normally see. Mostly we've got the compass pouch over here with the compass inside. We've got a set of Type E binoculars in their carry case. And instead of having a cartridge belt, I've got it set up for use with a Thompson. So I'll move the camera down and we'll have a quicker look at some of the bits and pieces on here. Right guys, let's start with the weapon equipment first. So we've got the standard M1936 suspenders and belt on there. We have the M1942 medical pouch, which is dated 43. We've got a 41 dated M1910 canteen and cup in a reproduction pouch. Then we have an M3 fighting knife inside an M8A1 scabbard, but from what I can tell in research, the M8A1s were not used this early in for Normandy. So what I've done is I've removed the belt mounting here and I've attached it to the belt like the normal M8 scabbard would be. If I get the chance to get a normal M8 scabbard at some point, I'll pick one of them up. Next along, I won't get out of the light, we've got the pouch for a set of Type E binoculars. These are binoculars that the Signal Corps would have had. I picked these up for a good price. Unfortunately, the case itself is a bit of a relic. It's damaged. It's been repaired so it can be on display, but this is not strong enough to have mounted on my belt for events, so I'm looking to replace this binocular case. The binoculars themselves are really nice. I'll get them out in a minute. And then after that we have a compass pouch with a compass inside. That's a reproduction pouch but an original compass. Now this weapon's set up to be used with my M1 Thompson. So we have the M1 Thompson with its 20 round mag in there at the moment. I don't have any extra mags for it so far, but I'll look at getting them at some point, with an original Kerr sling mounted to it, which is possibly the most awkward sling to put on that I've ever seen anywhere. It is really strange. And instead of using the little Thompson magazine bags, which really are flimsy and I don't like them at all, I've got an original M1 ammo bag with an M1 general purpose strap attached to it. The bag is 43 dated and the strap is 42 dated. So I'll move some of this out of the way and we'll get a proper look at some of the items in more detail. So here is my M1910 canteen and cup. I got these off a friend. The canteen itself is in pretty good condition. It's got a couple of dinks and dents in it, but that's perfectly good. I've been using this. I just put some lemon juice in there and left it in there for a while just to clean out any rubbish that was inside it and make it so it doesn't all taste revolting. And that's been good ever since. So that's a decent little canteen. The cup is really smart, I think, because that's got a very visible brass handle on it. You don't always see them where you can tell the difference. I don't know if that's coming up on the camera very well, but you can very much see the difference between the handle and the cup itself. And there you go, I've got on the bottom, if you can see that on there, the 1941 date. Next up we've got the M8A1 scabbard and the M3 fighting knife. The M3 fighting knife is a reproduction. That's quite old. As you can see, the tip has been damaged at some point. That had some rust on it which I just smoothed off. But that's quite a nice looking piece of equipment. That doesn't look like a brand new reproduction just covered in shiny black paint. So that does the job to just sit in the scabbard absolutely fine. The scabbard itself, I'll turn you this way, I believe is an original. I can't verify it, but it doesn't look like a reproduction to me. I can't find any markings on it. If I can get myself out of the light, there you go. You can see the US M8A1 markings on there. So these do the job very well if you're just sitting on display. I don't ever intend to use the knife for anything, even for cutting or anything like that, so that's better for me to have it just as a blunt repro like this. Right, so the last thing on the belt is the compass and its pouch. That's a reproduction compass pouch. I've darkened it down with some tea bags and that's come up quite nice. That was a very light tan when I got it. Probably won't bother replacing that unless I happen to come across one for a good price, because that is looking quite a nice bit of equipment even though it is only a reproduction. The little compass itself, let's see if we can get this on camera. There you go, you can see the markings of it. This is a really nice little bit of equipment. I just happened to come across this when I was in a store. That was just in a cabinet, but it's all flip open. It does work, you just have to have it nice and there you go. Have it nice and level, otherwise it has a bit of a tiff. I've been hunting for one of these for a little while. They're quite a nice little piece of equipment to have. So that'll go with the binoculars pretty well, and then I want to put together a proper full map case. I've already got the reproduction maps, but I want to get an original map case bag because the reproduction one, they just aren't very good. They bleach very quick and they look terrible. So I'm on the lookout for one of them. And you probably all noticed I skipped the binoculars. That's because I want to take them off the belt to show you them. Now the case is really smart. It has the compass built into it, and it has all of its parts. I've got a sling for it, I've just removed it for putting on the belt. The problem is this is very much a relic case. It's been broken there and there, that's been patched just to keep it functional. You can see the leather is very cracked. I think the camera's picking it up pretty good with this lighting. The compass will only work if that's completely flat, that's pretty jammed up, and I see no way of removing it to try and clean it up. But the biggest problem is that the belt loop, when I got it, was completely hanging off. You couldn't use it at all. Now a friend of mine has patched that up with some resin glue so that you can have it all together like this, and if you use the sling you could have it on your shoulder no problem. But this this binocular case is no use for fitting onto the belt. That's just going to fall apart and that would be a shame to it for nothing. So I want to replace this with another binocular case. And then you've got the binoculars themselves. These are Type E. These in the case are a World War I design, I'm led to believe. They're really good condition. They're nice and clean. They have great visibility through them. I've used these at events before. See if I can get the markings up in the light. Hopefully you can see there. But that's a really nice pair of binoculars. I've been looking for a pair of American binoculars for about 2 years, and these are signal corps binoculars, so strictly speaking it's unlikely that a member of the 2nd Armoured Division who was just out and about in a reconnaissance vehicle would have a pair of these if he wasn't a member of the signal corps of some sort. But I'm sure stuff like that did happen, but I will replace these with the M6, I believe they are, binoculars, which would have been the standard type, when I come across a pair that's a nice price. But I do want to replace this either way so I can get them mounted on the belt without wrecking the case. So now on to the couple of items that aren't attached to the belt itself. Here's my M1 ammunition bag, 1943 dated on the bag itself, 42 dated on the M1 general purpose sling. Now I'm going to use this instead of a Thompson magazine pouch because the Thompson magazine pouches are just flimsy, they look rubbish. The reproduction ones just don't look right. I've yet to come across a real one for sale. If I do, I'll pick it up and I'll swap over to it. But these are much more useful because you can put your wallet and your phone and anything you need to have on your events, but you don't want to be hanging about in all your coat pockets. You can store some food in there, obviously put a couple of magazines for the Thompson in there as well. Do whatever you want for it, so it's much more utilitarian. It's also more comfortable because the strap is probably more than 2 times as wide as the strap on a Thompson ammo pouch. So that's going to make it a lot more comfortable if you've got to wear this for an entire weekend. So I picked this up in a trade with a friend, swapped it for a really nice leather Garand sling that I just didn't want to use because I hate leather Garand slings. And that's in pretty good condition. I've cleaned up the buckles a little bit, see if we can get a look at them. You can see there's a little bit of rusting, but I've gone over it with some lemon juice and some WD-40 to clean it up some. I think they've come up pretty well. You're never going to make it perfect, and I don't want to repaint them because then that's just losing its originality. It didn't come with the sling or the strap, so I got myself one. This was just one from Soldier of Fortune that I probably paid way too much for, but that is a genuine sling instead of a reproduction, and it matches pretty well. You see there's a slight difference in the greens, but it's probably just due to fading. Again, some rust on the buckles, but that's not the end of the world. So I'd been again looking for one of these for quite a while, so I was really happy to finally get hold of one, and I'll definitely pick up more if I can. And here's the armament that I use for this display. So this is an M1 Thompson, not an M1A1, built by Auto Ordnance. I don't know the entirety of its information on its serial number, I've not looked into it yet. It did come with the magazine and the Kersling. Now the Kerslings are a bizarre piece of equipment. I don't know how many of you guys actually fitted them. The reproduction ones often don't work properly, and I'll show you why. So at the back, this part here, you run that through down and under, and that clips on to that little buckle that's just hanging up there, just the little loop. Now on the reproduction ones that I've seen, this clip is actually too wide to fit on that loop, which means you can't fit them the way you're supposed to fit them. The front end is slightly different. That has the loop fitted to another full-size buckle, and you can see that goes through, loops in and clips in on itself like this. They're a very strange sling. This is at maximum length, and you can barely, well, I'm a pretty big bloke, I can barely get that over my shoulder. You definitely don't want to be doing it with the magazine in the gun. The Thompson itself is in very nice condition. You see there's some scuffing on the stock. I'll just give you a slow go over it here. The wood all matches nicely. The front looks a tad lighter than the rest of it. That doesn't dry fire or anything like that, because UK laws on deactivations are strange. If you pop my camera down a minute. And there you see the other side. You got a little bit of damage on the front of the receiver there, but that's mostly in very nice condition. So there you go guys, that's a quick video just on some of the equipment I use when I'm doing a second armoured impression, or at least what I will be using next season, as I didn't have it all together to use it this season. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If anyone wants to have any questions about any of the equipment, tell me anything that I've gotten wrong on it, which is probably quite a lot because I aren't an expert by any means. Or you have any piece of equipment or ideas for videos that you want to see, then just send me a message on here, or those of you that are on the Discord, just chuck us a message on there. Alright, thanks a lot, I'll do some more videos for you soon.